The suttas are the framework that allow you to understand what those experiences are and how to practice to develop the ability to see with insight. So it's important to both understand what's written and also to practice. So the teachings are a framework, a guide. But the job is to understand your own experience, to see deeply in your own mind and body. And by doing that, that is when you develop insight into the nature of how things are. You see three things according to the Buddha. Three marks of existence. Three characteristics of conditioned existence. First thing is that everything is anicca, translated usually as impermanence. You could also translate it as unstable. Everything is arising, persisting with a time, while changing, and then passing away. So even if something is seen to persist, like for instance this body, day to day it might not look different, but it's always changing. It's persisting, but it's changing. This body came into being. It came out of the womb of the mother that bore us. This body has changed over the years, growing. And then as it gets older, stooping, falling apart. And then eventually it will cease. And this is true for everything in conditioned existence. Even the universe itself, scientists say, will have an end. They're still debating on the possibilities of what kind of an end, but there will be an end. So everything is impermanent, unstable. And because it's unstable, it's also undependable. What can you rely on if something is unstable? It's like being adrift in the ocean and desperately trying to grab onto pieces of flotsam so that you don't drown. But all those pieces are disintegrating. You can't depend on them because they're unstable. They're changing and falling apart. This is the existence that we live in. The second mark, however, comes into play. The second characteristic is that all conditioned existence is dukkha, variously translated as suffering, unsatisfactoriness, difficult to bear. And it's dukkha just because of the fact, and stress, yes. It's dukkha because we don't accept what is impermanent as impermanent. We still grasp, we still cling. We cling to something impermanent, and when it changes, we suffer because of it. That's what is meant by dukkha. We are the creators of our own downfall, the creators of our own suffering. By not understanding this reality of impermanence, and by not seeing that by attaching and clinging and craving to things that are impermanent, we don't expect them to change. We want them to stay the way they are. We have expectations towards them. And basically what we're doing is we're asking the world what it cannot give us. We want all of our friends and family to remain young and healthy and not to die. But that cannot be. All grows old. All eventually passes on. And so then we come to the third characteristic of existence. If something is impermanent, subject to change, and liable to cause us suffering, the Buddha asks then, is that fit to be called a self? This third characteristic of existence is anatta, variously translated as soullessness or not self. Normally we think that we have this permanent, everlasting essence or soul, or however you want to call it. But according to impermanence, this cannot be. Because everything is impermanent. Everything that is conditioned is impermanent. And because of that, because it is liable for us to attach to and create our own suffering, we cannot take it as me, mine, or myself. Because if it was this eternal soul that we had control over, we could tell it not to grow old, not to get sick, not to die. But it doesn't listen to us. Sure, we can do things like manipulate items with our hands. We can move our body in various ways. But that's only a very minor control. We have no control, no ability to go against this nature of existence. Even though we really, really delude ourselves and really try hard to believe that we can. We avoid thinking about our own death and the death of others. We avoid thinking that we're getting old. We get a gray hair, and all of a sudden we go out and we start dyeing our hair. Or we start losing our hair and we need some kind of implants or a wig or whatever. It's because we're trying to fight impermanence. And that's a fight that we can never win. So when we understand that all of these experiences are impermanent, unstable, undependable, these experiences, if attached to, create our own suffering. And these experiences are not mine. I don't need to identify with them. I don't need to attach to them. Then we are seeing with Vipassana. Vipassana the word has become synonymous with a type of meditation. But actually in the suttas, it's not a type of meditation. This was something that was created in the last 100 years, that it's a type of meditation. Vipassana means to see through or to see deeply. So it's a mind state, it's an experience of understanding reality as it truly is. And when you see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self, then you are seeing with Vipassana. You're seeing with wisdom and insight.